me. Come on strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say if you want to be more than friends.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Social Web Cafe interview. Today we have Chuck Hester, an expert in LinkedIn, and he's going to share some tips and an interesting perspective on how to use social media. Chuck, welcome.
Thanks, Deborah. Welcome. I appreciate the time that we've got today.
I do too. Hey, why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm a PR marketing social media consultant. I've been doing that for about 30 years, the social media part for about 8. Journalism grad at USC, University of Southern California, and just kind of jumped right into journalism and PR, and have been working in high-tech public relations ever since.
Now you said that high-tech public relations. How would you differentiate between high-tech versus what would be like normal public relations?
Well, I don't do hospitality. I don't do pharmaceuticals. So there's a velvet rope for me, which is a kind of a Michael Port sales trainer comment of pick what you're really good at and stay within that velvet rope. And so high-tech public relations is really what I've been doing for a long, long time, whether it be B2B or B2C technology, and now with online social media, that's always been my bailiwick.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm thinking high tech, like as in methodology, but it would seem in PR marketing, you want to use whatever tools are available to you. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm on the same page. I get what you're saying. And social media seems to be an excellent fit for the high tech industry.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, one of my philosophies, however, is that social media is just a tool in the toolkit. So if you're using social media as a marketing tactic, I think that makes a lot of sense. If you're using it as the only strategy that you have in your marketing plan, then you're probably missing some of the other aspects of marketing that you should be involved with.
So, for example, if you're using social media 8 hours a day, but you never pick up the phone to make calls or return calls or answer calls, you're missing part of that.
Exactly, or direct mail or Salesforce work or whatever it may be. I mean, you really, the underlying philosophy out there is that you've got to be where your customers are. If your customers are 65 plus and they're not on Facebook or social media at all, then you're probably missing the boat.
That's a very good point. I'm also a jazz singer, and that definitely applies as far as the 65 plus. I've sold more CDs offline than I actually have online.
Yeah, us older guys like that. I mean, that's really
Now, you've been with LinkedIn for quite a few years, like since the beginning. What changes?
Yeah, I've been a LinkedIn member since 2003, fall of 2003, and they were actually established in 2003. 2004, really actively started using it when I was looking for a job to relocate to North Carolina, and my 27 some odd connections were all North Carolina-based public relations, marketing, technology.
Now, have you seen a lot change as far as how you connect, or basically the same methods as 2003?
It's the same methods. The features have changed significantly over the years. LinkedIn, I always like to say, is really good about sitting back and watching other social media platforms and what works for them. For instance, now with the company pages, you can actually like and share and comment on posts on the company pages within LinkedIn. That's obviously a Facebook feature that they decided was really good for them. On the LinkedIn status bar, you can make it 140 characters and automatically switch it over to Twitter at the same time. So they're paying attention to what's going on. The bigger change they've had as well, because they went public, and I always get this number wrong, I believe about 18 months to 2 years ago, when they started doing that, they added a lot of what I call UI features, so user interface features. So it's sexier, it's prettier, it's easier to use now.
Wow, and what are the differences? Is it more on the user end of it, like you said, the UI changes?
Yeah, it is more on the user interface. I mean, for instance, you can see your circles of influence, and there's actually circles on the profile page. So you can figure out who your largest network is, and whatever that may be. If it's in Los Angeles, then that circle is going to be the largest circle that you'd see on your profile.
Okay, I can't help it. You say circle, and right away I think Google Plus, and are they going to have an issue with the use of circle?
Understood.
Although the phrase circle of influence, I mean, that's been around for a while, so it's not like Google can, take the corner on that term circle.
Well, Google believes they do own the world. I mean, it's just a case of how often it takes before they can get them to court.
Okay, Google, I know this is on your platform, so don't listen to what we're saying right now.
I love you, Google. I really do. I'm a massive Google user. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I am too. We love to pick on Google, but Google has a lot of innovative tools like this ability to have the Google Hangout on air. We talked a little bit about traditional, just touched on as far as the PR. What would you list as the similarities and the differences between social media? I realize that's a tool in the bigger picture of PR, but as far as the traditional PR before social media.
Well, it's all about communication. It's all about getting the information out to your audience. And it is, in fact, doing audience research to find out where your customers are. So that really honestly hasn't changed a lot. But the biggest difference, and one that I talk a lot about when I give speeches on this particular topic, one of the things that's changed significantly is public relations was really about broadcasting. It was about actually getting the message out to a large number of people, where social media is more about connecting one-on-one with a community and being actively involved in that community and listening more than broadcasting, which can be very difficult for some old school public relations and marketing folks. I always like to tell them to put the megaphone down and start talking to people one-on-one.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a lot more engagement oriented. And I find that more rewarding because then you actually do hear what the needs are, what the wants are.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's citizen journalism, and it can become citizen marketing at the same time.
I like that. I've heard the citizen journalism, but I like, citizen marketing.
Yeah, I'm writing that down as I speak, Deborah, because that's something I've never said that before. Wow.
That's good. Okay, you guys, you've heard it here first. Hester, citizen marketing.
We could co-author our next book. That could be it right there, right?
I like that. After the Google Hangout, so we give kudos to Google. Now, you worked at Eye Contact for a while? And you accomplished quite a bit for them. Tell us about those accomplishments. Yeah,
Eye Contact was a great gig for me. It was really a super chance to do a lot of different things. First of all, I got my job at Eye Contact through LinkedIn. The CEO actually contacted me through LinkedIn. So that was kind of the start of my social media chops, if you will. And that was back in Durham, North Carolina. And at the time I joined, I was employee 27, and they had about $2 million in sales. By the time I left the company, it was a little over, I believe, $85 million in sales. And at that time, we had 350 employees. And then the following year, they were bought by Vocus for about $180 million. So we had a lot of fun with it. It was, we built the communications departments, and we started a lot of cool initiatives and grew as a company, going from 27 employees to 50 to 150. I mean, it just kept growing as we went. The founders were young guys and still are young guys, but at the time, the CEO was 20 and his co-founder was, I believe, 24, if I get those numbers right. And really had a good feel for the product that they were offering to the folks, and we did some really neat things out there.
That's incredible on several levels. I mean, I'm thinking 2 million sounded good, and what did you say they went up to when you left? 180 million, or no?
Yeah, they were sold at $180 million.
Wow, that not bad chunk of change there.
Yeah.
And you're part of that growth. You're part of what Eye Contact became, and this 20-year-old genius, innovative.
Indeed.
That's excellent. Now, you've written a book. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
It's called Linking In to Pay It Forward, Changing the Value Proposition of Social Media. And there's a wide variety of things that go along with that title, but mainly it's talking about how you can be of service to others and how that will make a difference in how you approach someone that you're going to be engaging with on social media. So a lot of, and we'll get into the Pay It Forward philosophy, which is a big part of what I do. And it was just a chance for folks who were coming to me and saying, okay, so tell me stories, tell me how this is going. How did you work with LinkedIn? How does it work for you? So I decided to write a book, and I actually blogged the first 6 chapters online on my blog. And the reason I did that, a variety of reasons. One is to let folks know that it's a work in progress. But the other part of it is, quite frankly, I'm somewhat of a I don't know. I have a tendency to kind of drag my heels every once in a while to get things done. So this was a nice way to have the community say, okay, chapter 5's done. When's chapter 6 coming up? So we got a chance to do that. And it came out about a couple years ago, and it's done fairly well. And enjoying sharing it with other people. And when I give speeches, I get a chance to include the book as well.
Excellent. It's kind of accountability as far as you've got your readers just waiting for that next piece.
I hope they were waiting for it. I'm not positive on that, but I sure like to think they were.
Hey, that works. That works. Whatever gets us motivated to actually sit down and write. I find it takes more work to think about writing than actually to sit down and do the writing.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, I've got another one outlined in my head. I've got one written out in my journal, and they are sitting there right now with, as life gets in the way, basically. But there's others coming.
Yeah, I think I have 6 books, and I don't know which one I'd say I'm writing the most, but they kind of float around. One of these days I'll finish at least one of them.
Yes, I hear you.
Now, we were talking before the interview about some really cool stories that you shared with me, and I would love to have you share that with the audience. Very inspiring.
Well, first of all, when my wife and I went through the dot-com bubble burst, we had a consultancy back in 1999, and in 2000 was going very well. Then the dot-com bubble burst hit, so we basically lost everything. We went from homeowners in Southern California to renters to now what are we going to do, and all the way to the point of food stamps, quite frankly. And that's where the pay it forward philosophy really was born for us, because there were people that came forward and just, there would be groceries on our doorstep where we didn't think we were going to have groceries for the week. And we talked to different people who had either donated or helped, and they said, don't worry about paying us back, just pay it forward. And so that's really one of the areas that made the difference. So that allowed us to relocate to North Carolina and start over again, and that's where our contact came in as well. So, I could tell you the Starbucks story. Would you like that one?
I would love to hear the story. That is so inspiring. I mean, I think I'm a chatterbox. You actually got me quiet on that story. It's just so moving.
Oh, I had a lot of fun with that. Well, like I said, I'm a pay-it-forward philosopher. There's no doubt about it. And actually, if you were to talk to people online and ask them who I am, that's probably the first thing they would say. But I truly believe that pay-it-forward is a very simple habit. You already know how to return a favor, so you're halfway there. So instead of returning that favor, you help somebody else and move forward. So I was in line at a Starbucks, and I'm a Starbucks nut, and they're at least on a daily basis, if not twice a day. And I was in a great mood, and a lady in front of me is on a cell phone, and she's just rushed and upset and not happy. And I looked up and looked at the barista that I know, and I said, "Look, this coffee's on me." And she turned around very startled and said, "Well, no, I said, "No, you just pay it forward. Next time you see somebody, just pay it forward and pay for somebody else's coffee." Fast forward about 2 weeks, and I'm rushed and trying to get to work and do whatever, and I'm in a Starbucks again, and I hear somebody say, and his coffee's on me. And I turn around, and it was the lady that I had paid for the coffee with for 2 weeks ago. So, it's nice to see the seeds are planted and see that the work worked very well. My wife and I are heavy advocates when it comes to service, and that means whether it be ambulance drivers or policemen or servicemen or women, whoever it may be, we actually search out for those folks, pay for dinners for them, pay for coffee, whatever, because we believe that, what they're doing is something that we couldn't possibly do, and we're safe because of them. So it's a lot of fun to be able to do that and just say thank you. It's a really cool way.
I think you nailed it. As far as it is a lot of fun, it's really fulfilling. I mean, it's not a matter of just giving. You actually are receiving something, that feel good feeling of giving and paying it forward. I like that approach.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was thinking about, and now I'm not knocking MLM. I know that people enjoy doing MLM, and I was in the whole MLM thing, I don't know, a decade ago or something, and tried it. But the concept of asking for a favor, listen to my presentation, or you go to door to door, please just listen to my presentation. Don't mean to knock that approach, but I have to say the pay it forward really hits home with that feeling of giving to somebody, and kind of hoping if you're in need that comes around. And if it doesn't, you're still able to give. I don't know. I like that better than asking for a favor, and how you said that you're already halfway there.
Yeah. You know how to do it. I mean, all you have to do is say, "Don't worry about it. Just don't pay me back. Just pay it forward."
I wonder what that would do in the MLM industry if it went the other direction? Instead of calling up your aunts and uncles and cousins and saying, would you do me a favor and listen to my presentation, if they're actually calling up saying, hey, I'd like to pay it forward. I don't know if that would work in an MLM model.
Not so sure about that. I've got good friends in MLM as well, so I'm going to stay quiet at this point in time.
Well, that's where editing comes in handy. I can edit this part out, but I like the pay it forward. That's great. Are you the one that coined the pay it forward phrase?
No, the Catherine Hyde-White actually, who wrote the book "Pay It Forward," and the movie was based on that. And you know, I've had some really cool things happen to me. She has a Pay It Forward Foundation. She's based in England, and she actually found out about what we were doing and approached us and asked us to be part of her LinkedIn group. So I'm actually in direct contact with her, and have not had a chance to really correspond with her per se, but you know, she's aware of what goes on. So the Pay It Forward philosophy is worldwide. I mean, there's a wide variety of things that are done on a daily basis for that. So it's really cool to see it. And one of the things I do teach the folks that I do LinkedIn boot camps for executives as well as for large corporations. And one of the things I talk about is the value proposition change, which is my subtitle, Changing the Value Proposition in Social Media. It really is about when you connect with somebody, the one thing that everybody will tell you I say is, please tell me how I can be of service to you. Now that is somewhat startling to folks who are expecting you to come in and connect with them and saying, okay, so I need a job, or I've got a great MLM, or here's, you know, the latest marketing thing that I'm doing, and please pay attention to it. When I come in and ask to talk about them as opposed to me, you know, that really changes the value proposition. So folks come away from that going, okay, this is different, and I can engage with this person because he's really not, at this point in time at least, not expecting anything in return from me. So if we all thought about that way of thinking, you know, it'd be fascinating to see what might happen as a result.
Well, and I think that is changing. I've heard that phrase before. I think even 10 years ago, I had a fellow musician that said, what is it that I can do for you? And I'm looking at him, and I won't mention his name right now, but he's very well known. I'm sure you've heard of him. I'm like, wait a minute. Where's the catch? Why are you offering to help me out?
And you're right. I get that on a regular basis too. Folks are saying, okay, so where's the catch? No catch. You know, it's just, you know, if you need something, just let me know, and we'll take it from there. And you're right, though, it does come around. There's no doubt about that. When I left Eye Contact and decided to go back into consulting, you know, within 2 weeks, I had 3 clients already set up. And I believe a lot of that has to do with where I was coming from. So as far as being a pay it forward advocate and somebody willing to help out. When it was my turn, they were helping out.
Do you think it helps to create that sense of belonging? As far as I heard something at a conference, and I've probably quoted this so many times on interviews, and it's not mine, so I'll give credit to the Thrive conference. But sure, rather than looking for that place of belonging, creating a sense of belonging, and people will come.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the Field of Dreams thing, right? I mean, you know, build it and they will show up. But yeah, to a certain extent, there is, you know, that I have a tendency to hang out with people that I want to hang out with and that I feel comfortable with. And, you know, I got an email this morning from a particular gentleman saying, you know, I'm disconnecting myself from this organization because I don't believe in what they're doing anymore. You know, and that's a big part of that. I need to hang out with people who I'm comfortable with, who I believe are ethical, moral, and good people. And so, yeah, I think you find those people almost, it's an affinity, if you will, and folks will hang out with other folks who they believe are going to be good people, who are going to help out when it's needed, and that they can help. So yeah, I think you're right.
And bringing this full circle, it seems that social media, if used properly, not that there's a definition of properly, but if used in a way to connect with people. I mean, humans existed before traditional PR. They existed before social media. Using it to connect with people and help people really makes social media quite an exciting tool.
Yeah, and in my book, there's a lot of axioms, a lot of phrases that I use. Because I'm the type. I'm a Seth Godin reader. That's Seth is the type that enough information, what he calls hidden treasures and nuggets, and it's just enough information. And one of my axioms is you really need to treat your connections like they're standing right in front of you, that there's somebody behind the computer screen. And we lost that, I think, when social media first started to really take cold. A lot of people were, the text messaging and the, just the posting, whatever. A lot of people forgot who was behind that text message or that post. And I think it's coming full circle these days. And we're seeing a lot more of, we're all part of a community. I mean, a wide variety of things, everything from the political side all the way through to the, the tragedies that occur over the last couple of months. I mean, it's just fascinating to see how people are connecting.
Oh, it is. Even the, I watched Obama after the horrible Connecticut shooting, and I realized that that's a broadcast method, but it's coming over. Was it CNN or one of, as far as the video? But feeling that connected with not just the president, but the father, saying, "Wow, I feel that tear that's coming out of your eye right now." And part of that with the social media does allow us to connect. Okay, maybe not send text messages to the president. I don't know if that would be.
Probably not a great idea.
But that's great. Wow, I was starting thinking about the Connecticut shooting, and now my brain is off another direction on that one. But ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Hester, and I'm going to let you say your book because I'm sure I will leave out a word, but I want to go get this book and read it and all the nuggets and wonderful things. You've got a glimpse of that in this interview, and you'll get more even reading his book.
Great. It's linking into Pay It Forward, changing the value proposition in social media. Best place to get it, because I'll send you an autographed copy. Not that that's exciting right now, but who knows, is book. The URL is actually book.chuckhester.com. That's the easiest place to find it. Of course, I'm also available on Amazon and on Kindle as well. But, book.chuckhester.com will get it directly to me, and I'll ship it out directly.
Excellent. I will put that in the video so people can see it visually and go visit you. And thank you so much, Chuck Hester, for joining us for another Social Web Cafe interview. We've really learned a lot and been inspired. Thank you.
My pleasure, Deborah.
Don't you want to kiss and hug me? Come on strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say when, if you want to be more than friends. Got some love I'd like to make. Baby, you can squeeze me, I won't break. We could be in a paradise, you and me. Until then, I'll remind you again. Just say when. Oh yeah, until then, I'll remind you again. Just say when. Oh baby, just say when.